Hello everyone, this is Redact, and this game is called Suzerain. We are going to continue our role as as president of Sordland. Yes, last episode, scummy Dutch. They declined to have a trade agreement with us, so they can feck off. They get their comeuppance at some point. Gilbert Dam. Okay, what's going on here? Wright is arrested. Protesters. Occasional looting of the past weeks has ceased in the city of Lenderkerg. Lenderkerg police have reported the situation is now under control. Thousands of arrests have been made while quelling the situation. Good. I like arrests. Alright, so that's going to be the trade delegation. We need to get a trade deal of some kind with them. Thing is, those becking Dutch didn't want to have anything to do with us. Enrica police force have organised a raid today after reports from the Swordist Intelligence Directorate about suspected young Swords activity in Enrica. Police were ambushed during the raid. The gunfight that broke up, 4 militants were killed, 10 more were being arrested. Fortunately, an officer was also killed. Damn it! What's going on here? Education reforms. The Ministry of Education is reporting that the massive overhaul to the education system is progressing slower than expected. Only a few schools in Sordland will collaborate in the reduction of hours taught in citizenship, scholarship and nationalism subjects. Significant efforts are being made to lessen the political indoctrination in education, met with resistance. Other changes were supposed to happen in the curriculum. Pedagogical improvements. No idea what that is. Like improved teacher-student relations and the emphasis on critical thinking weren't able to start due to lack of workforce and funding. Minister Welder reports little progress from most schools, delaying the transformation on political grounds. Okay. Well, as long as it didn't cost me any money, it's fine. I think that's everything. Well, let's just go to the news, see what's going on. Okay, radical. Sordland tightens up immigration. Van Horten is playing with fire. Yesterday morning, Chancellor of Velsland, Hegel, delivered a press conference about the escalating tensions in Helgeland. During the press release, he said, Annola's unlawful occupation of the island will not stop us from doing whatever it takes to protect our people. He heavily criticised and condemned Prime Minister Van Horten, saying we're dealing with an illegal occupation force which doesn't refrain from entering our territorial waters without asking our permission. Playing with fire, if he's not careful, he might get burned. Yes. Sordland today. President Rain saves the day, of course. Second Contanian satellite in space. So they've launched a second satellite from their airbase, reach low Earth orbit. German posted scientists and the UCOSM, whatever they are, that allow the country to reach space a second time. Okay. Major military overhaul. The Ministry of Defence has announced a new ambitious military modernisation plan in order to solve the outdated equipment issues and other shortages in the armed forces. Defence Minister praised the administration for its resolve to form a force that can adapt to challenges of warfare in the new age. Our nearby enemies won't dare the reformed military might of Sordland in the future, said Lancia in a formal announcement. To meet the equipment and structural demands, the military-industrial complex and international armed contractors have been contacted. General Staff made no comment regarding the changes. Radical journalist arrested. Okay, they've detained that John Dandern. Have close ties with the banned Red Youth Organization. Shouldn't be doing that. Radical. President Reigns protects religious freedoms. State continue its war. Police violence. Darkness descends. Oh, here we go. Our respected correspondent and columnist journalist John Dandern was arrested, among others, several others yesterday after trying to report on the police arrests of members of the socialist unions. He was immediately arrested on scene without giving a reason. Without providing evidence, the prosecutor said the detainers were suspected of committing crimes on behalf of the Red Youth militants, who whole sort of accused of organising terrorist attacks, which they have, and a coup attempt, which they did. Tando was known for his heavy criticisms of the government. Fought for the truth. We are perfectly aware of the real reasons behind this arrest. Yeah, he was plotting with foreign governments. That's what he was doing. He's a traitor. It's treason what he was doing. Today, darkness has descended on the radical. We have lost a great journalist. He's not dead yet. He's just got thrown in jail. He's just got to tell us what he's been doing. We'll have to persuade him to tell us what we want to hear from him. We, the team at the Radical, condemn this arrest. Blah, blah, blah. We will not be... I'm not even going to read it. Whatever. Okay, I think that's everything. Anything updated here? No. Right, let's go and have this trade delegation then. Sordland 1's flight from Hulshold to Werklad Witz took approximately 5 hours. Despite heavy turbulence, I managed to sleep a little. Along with Simon and David, we landed at the international airport, capital city of Verlin. Our aim here was to finalize the trade deal drafted in between Sordland and Verlin. Shortly after our plane landed, the door opened and the sun blinded me for a moment. I stepped outside. I saw the soldiers lined up on either side of the red carpet. There must have been at least 100 soldiers. The marching band started playing and the soldiers immediately saluted me. Salute the soldiers. At the bottom of the stairs, Victor Somolak was waiting for me next to the military jeep with a few soldiers by his side. Is he the president? Yeah. See, why didn't the Dutch? They're so disrespectful. Didn't come and do this. They just left me to get licked by some lackey. Fine. A few reporters on the side waiting with their cameras. He was a tall man, almost as tall as me. He was wearing large sunglasses and his attire was a regular suit, contrasting with the military attire of everyone else in the field. Mr. President, welcome. He immediately motioned for an embrace. We hugged and many cameras went off at the same time. He turned around for a couple of additional poses. Nice to see you, Mr. President. Put him aside for a couple more poses yourself. Yeah, it's nice to see you. Now that the pleasantries are done, let's go. We will take the jeep for a tour. With another tune from the marching band, we boarded the military jeep. He sat in the driver's seat and I sat next to him. After speeding up, the soldiers saluted again. Victor saluted back. Salute the soldiers. My security detail and Victor's security detail immediately started following us, along with a team of reporters. We shall go to the city centre to see the opening of a statue. Whose statue? Mine, of course. Oh, excellent. I want a statue. Can I have a statue? I want a statue. We kept making small talk about the flight and the weather until we started making our way into the city centre. On almost every corner there were reporters taking pictures of us. Oddly enough, every single street that we took seemed completely empty. Is it always this empty? The locals closed down their businesses because of your visit, so you can enjoy the city more. Wow, I want to be like him. There we are. We arrived at the city centre. In the middle of the large plaza there was a covered statue. Lots of people gathered behind fences and they were waving both Sordland and Verlin flags. Victor waved back at them. My people have been very supportive of this visit, Mr. President. I'm sure you're delighted to see. Man came close to the fences and started yelling at Victor. With my limited knowledge of the Redact language, I understood the words Victor and murderer. Almost instantaneously, 2 soldiers showed up from behind the man and he was taken away. Thankfully, the sun is up. Today will be a good day for the reveal. What happened to the man who was protesting you? Oh, which man? The one in the crowd? Don't worry about the details. He must have got a troubled fellow. Let's focus on the event. Took our places in front of the statue. With a drum roll, the statue of Victor was uncovered. The statue was done pretty well, except he was made more masculine. He was wearing a cloak and holding a sword in one hand. Excellent statue, very lifelike. What do you think? Don't have time for these games. Let's get straight to business. It's very good, very lifelike. Yes, it's very good. I like it. Glad you appreciate the art behind it. Join me for a walk. Followed him through the streets. At every corner, more and more photos were taken. He stopped in front of a pastry vendor on the street. Give me 2 strudels. The man behind the stand smiled and gave us 2 strudels. Wait for him to pay the street vendor? He simply took the 2 strudels and didn't pay anything. Okay, I'll pay him. Put my hand on my wallet and brought out some money to give the vendor. Hold up, your money doesn't count here. I got this. He handed the money to the street vendor. The cameras flashed again. Afterwards, we walked a short distance to the palace. Passing the front gates of the palace, we made our way into the main building, which was made from ivory-coloured stones. The old guard towers flanked the magnificent main building from both sides. The inside of the palace was very spacious, with very large chandelier hanging from the ceiling. Grand staircases made from the same ivory stone had red carpets on them. Both sides to the upper levels, guards stood with their traditional outfits. We finally reached the office of the president. The door closed behind us. The interior boasted gold ornaments on the walls, ivory colours, various jewels attached to different artifacts of old. I want his office. He seems like someone I should emulate. As it was customary, we sat down on the carpet. Now we can talk about our trade deal. Nod. Yes. But before that, oh, here we go. He clapped his hands twice. Bring the quiche. Two assistants immediately entered the room carrying a large ornamented quiche, the well-known smoking instrument originating from Verlin. Immediately lit it up and the room filled with the smell of tobacco. He inhaled the smoke and handed me. Partake. Probably the highest quality tobacco I'd ever smoked. I handed it back. Took another puff, filling the room with more smoke. So, Mr. President. Bah, that's too long. Can I call you Anton? Sure. Anton. I know you've put an embargo on them and I congratulate you for standing on Rumberg. But let me ask you a question. What do you really think about Rumberg? They're a threat that needs to be dealt with. They're messing around with my internal politics. Don't like it. I agree with your sentiments, Anton. They are a threat to everyone in the region. I assure you their time will come in due time. Guys, I would rather prevent further conflict, yeah. You know as well as I do, Anton, they are coming whether we like it or not. They are the aggression, not us. For now I have something else in mind. I'm listening. Clapped his hands again. Two assistants came into the room with a map of the border regions between Verlin and Sordland. He pointed at the border. Look. Bloods and their so-called BFF are causing problems for me in this region. I know they are also a problem for you. I will not allow these traitors to exist in my border, so I hit them with all the might of Verlin. These terrorists need to be destroyed. I call it Operation Bear Trap. Okay, so what do you want from me? He grinned and lay back on the large pillow behind him. Here's the deal. I will give you the best trade deal in the region. You will give me assistance crushing the terrorists on both our borders. Any specifics? Sure. My spies have infiltrated BFF cells and found caches of KA-74. We take them back to Rumberg. This alone justifies my retaliation to protect my country. Worst of all, we found similar shipments going to Sordland. Yes, Anton, you see, this is not just Verlin's problem. Let's take a step back and talk about what you will get in return. I propose to you a no-tariff agreement, co-investment projects and oil. In return, you will assist me in destroying the terrorists in my country. Okay, what kind of support do you need? We can, but these vermin are good at hiding. What I want from you in return is for all the money and the resources, a joint operation in between our armies against BFF. I took a moment to think about it. Okay, let's negotiate our contribution. You're a tough one, Anton. Normally I wouldn't offer anything else, but I like you. It's my final offer. When the operation starts, with you or without you, there'll be stragglers trying to cross into Sordland. So I want you to support the operation even if you do not join. Stop the terrorists from fleeing into your country and you will have a deal. Simple, isn't it? So what do you think? Deal. Yes. I need a trade deal. I knew I could trust you, Anton. Tonight we will drink. Clapped his hands again. Drinks, dancers, music. A group of dancers and performers entered the smoke-filled room. As they performed their songs, we clinked our glasses to our newly found partnership while sipping the sweet Bezek liqueur. Next day I returned to Sordland with a hangover. That much of a drinker, I guess. Okay, so what happened? Diplomacy. Defend the border against BFF. Republic Sordland hereby suspends the entry of all bluish alien coming from the Republic of Ireland due to concerns of terrorism. Yes. Tariff-free oil trade with Ireland. Good. Lack of allies. We've got an ally. Greenberg expansion. Okay, military. Ireland border defense. Additional military forces are moving to reinforce the border between us and Ireland. Good. Good. Recovered trade volume. Excellent. Recent successful efforts in signing a new comprehensive trade deal has recovered the trade volume in Sordland to pre-recession levels. Absolutely excellent. Okay, we need to have some investment over there, but law and order is... Yeah, we still need to figure that out. Still need to do this. Organized crime and corruption still need to figure out. Okay. Good stuff. What have we got coming up? What's over here? Extend emergency decree. Could be extended or revoked. Interesting. Don't think we're out the woods yet. Okay, what's going on in the news? Sordland ratified a new trade agreement with Ireland. A new trade agreement and investment protection agreement. Significant development that shows significant normalization of Swordish-Vesek relations after decades of troubles. At the most basic level, the agreements will support jobs and growth between the two nations and ensure Sordland will be buying Vesek oil at a cheap price. Agreements will gradually reduce most tariffs and regulatory barriers, creating new opportunities for Swordish entrepreneurs to do business. And we'll have a cooperation pact against the terrorist organization. Yes, those terrorist scum. Swordish Intelligence Directorate reported the city of Valgan is hosting a large number of people who may pose a threat to Swordish national security. Director has issued the permission to wiretap any... Right, so we still need... There's still fairly urgent that we keep the emergency declaration. Arrest report. Over 1,000 were arrested in Narbo in relation to operations against national security threats. The situation in Narbo and the surrounding region is under control. Oppression. What about order? Tension, anti-corruption, inexperienced police recruits. And the directive of the President of the Interior, that's a different thing, isn't it? Wondering if we got rid of the emergency, whether this would go away, but I don't think so. Wide-ranging security powers. Large police force, national protest quelled. Everything's... Yeah. It might still be a bit early for us to stop with that, so we're not going to quite yet. What's going on over here? Negotiate a trade deal. The Turks, I think, is probably what they are. Okay. Right, let's see what's going on. The emergency decree helped stabilize the country to a certain degree, but the opposition is growing. The continuous use of special powers has been opposed by Minister Morgner, while Chief Justice Hawker has argued the security situation hasn't fully resolved and is demanding an extension to fully stabilize the country. Should we extend or end the emergency? We will extend it. Ultimate power. Assembly session on the Emergency Act. Yeah, I guess we'll do that. Let's do that. The session of the Grand National Assembly was in order because of the continued discussion about the emergency. The opposition wanted to declare it null and void. I was seated in one of the seats reserved for the Council of Ministers, which was positioned slightly higher than the rest of the seats and had an angle that made for a clear view of the whole place. Glanced down at USB seats and casually watched the people inside as Gloria announced the next speaker before the vote to revoke the decree. Mr. Franz Richter from the People's Freedom and Justice Party has the floor. He's the one that I'm going to blackmail. Ladies and gentlemen, devastating picture has often been painted of the state of affairs prevailing in Sordland today. As always, in such cases, there is no lack of exaggeration. considering the extreme measures being taken, completely sets aside our freedoms. No one can fairly demand or expect us to accept the extension of the Emergency Act. Elections of December have resulted in a majority for USP, thus giving Mr. Rain the opportunity to govern, strictly as laid down in the intention of the Constitution. But where this opportunity is given, it is coupled with obligations. Respecting the laws and listening to criticism is necessary. I'm listening to criticism, I'm respecting the law, it's all part of the Constitution, mate. Not only the Assembly's opinion was not asked, the reasons for the emergency nor its extension were not justified. Don't need to justify myself to you, I'm the President. The President clearly has ideological intentions. The decree was an attempt to destroy the socialist movement. The decree was a declaration of war against the Bluish people. The President does not even shy away from using divisive words. I've never said anything bad about the Bluish people. There's political intentions which will have grave consequences for our country. Oh no! Mr. Rain is exploiting the shooting of Bernard Surkas and using this to his advantage to give us all these lies about national security threats. Ladies and gentlemen of the United Sordland Party, you have claimed to have reformed the party and promised to bring the change people have been asking for. Yet while workers, the peasants, the white-collar employees, civil servants or the businessmen of Sordland have their own troubles, demands from us. You go about fighting wars with enemies that don't exist. Nobody expected of you to rewrite the outdated constitution of Tarquin Sol. Now we have an emergency on our hands which is fabricated to create a justification for the lack of reforms of the government and their apparent hunger for authority. Loud applauses came from the opposition. Ask Gloria for a moment to respond, say stand up and yell at him. I will respond. I gestured at Gloria to ask for an opportunity to respond. Gloria looked at me and nodded. Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Richter, but the President has asked for an opportunity to respond. You've directly addressed the President in your speech, so I shall give him the opportunity to give a brief response. The President has the floor. You're all fired. Mr. Richter, you speak of pure slander. There were no political intentions. Gentlemen, you're underestimating the threats. Mr. Richter, who are you to speak of such things? Yeah, who are you to speak of such things? We will be controlling the situation shortly. Be patient. We know Mr. Richter himself has ties with foreign interests. Yes. Mr. President, let's keep it brief. The emergency will show those the real traitors among us. The decree is completely legal. The emergency was a hard decision to make, but it was needed. Yes. I have to let Mr. Richter continue, Mr. President. Mr. Franz Richter has the floor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. President spoke nonsense. How dare you! I ask for my honourable colleagues to support the BFJP revoking this emergency here and now. I'm talking to the members of the United Sordland Party as well. Do not act partisan in matters with such critical importance. We know that this emergency is a dangerous exaggeration, and it can have very grim consequences on our democratic institutions. I wish to trust in your judgment and ask for your help in reaching an absolute majority against this decree. One man from the USP yelled, "In your dreams!" made the USP burst into laughter. When in fact the Assembly fails to deliver its duties for the good of the Sordland people, I shall be personally making a case to the Supreme Court about the legality of this emergency. Good luck with that. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that this emergency is unlawful. Breaches on the right for a fair trial by giving the state the right to detain anyone without a trial. It's a breach on democracy as well as the freedoms of people defined in Section 100 of the Constitution. Also denies people's right to assemble and protest. This is a clear breach of freedom of expression and freedom of speech. According to the Constitution, these rights cannot be suspended under any other circumstances than being under invasion. Not see any Rumbergian tanks in Sordland? Are we under bombardment? There is no one attacking but the state. They are persecuting thousands of innocents under national security threats. Who will stop the President from persecuting all that oppose him tomorrow? The state is acting illegally. I hereby invite the Supreme Court to duty and ask for them to subject this decree to a proper judicial review. Revoke it before it's too late. Must adhere to the basic principles of the constitutional state. the equality of rights and the concept of social legislation anchored therein. Ask everyone's support in the upcoming vote. Nope. Nope. Mr. Richter walked back to his seat among applauses from his party. Next, the Assembly will vote on PFJP's demand to revoke the validity of the emergency. According to the Constitution, the Assembly requires at least a 2/3 majority to revoke an emergency declared by the President. People started to get up from their seats to take the envelopes and cast their votes. Go cast a vote. Yeah, I may as well vote. I grabbed the envelope and prepared my vote. Vote. Vote aye for the fun of it. No, we're not going to. No. Some time has passed when the votes were counted. Then inglorious gravel echoed in the hall, which eliminated the carefree attitude that lurked after the voting. We have 131 ayes and 119 nays. Age does not exceed the 2/3 threshold, so the nays have it. Yes! PFJP members started making noises. Other people, including Friends Richter, demanded to speak. Yes, Mr. Richter. Friends looked directly at me. No degree can give you the power to destroy ideas which are eternal and indestructible. You're going down, mate. I'm going to make sure that we get you for corruption. I held those who were persecuted and in despair. We held the strong Swordish opposition. Their steadfastness and their loyalty are worthy of acclaim. Courage of their convictions, their unbroken faith are the guarantees of a brighter future. Turned around and went back to his seat. Leave the assembly. I don't need to say anything more. The whole assembly watched behind me as I walked. I barely heard Mansoon Lit yelling behind me right when I walked out the door. People's sense of justice also wields political power, Mr. President, and we will never stop appealing to this sense of justice. Felt at ease as soon as I left the assembly's chaos behind. It's a tough session, but the opposition failed to revoke the emergency decree in the end, and it worked perfectly for us. Whoever Friends was going to disrupt the decree by going to the court. Also's promise could be trusted. That would not create issues for us, but I still couldn't help myself from worrying. I still have ultimate power, so that's good. Okay, so we're going to leave this episode here. Next time we will... Is there anything? No, we need to go there. We have a look at what's going on. We read the news, and then we continue and see what happens next time. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again next time. Take care, everyone.